made a few additions to the My Decorative Quilter software that I think will help make things a little bit easier for you. So I wanted to take a moment and just show you some of those things. First, you can see I have a block up here on the screen, and it's just a standard star block. And let's say that I wanted to create a pattern, a repeated pattern to go over the top of this entire block to kind of act as a stippling stitches. Before, you'd have to like kind of create a pattern, and then you would have to copy and paste it and move it around to fill the area. But now we've added the repeat design tool to make it much easier to accomplish something like this. So in order to get started, I need to have a design loaded so that I can work with that design to repeat the pattern of it. So I'm going to come up to custom shapes. I'm going to scroll down to where I find the stars. And let's go ahead and choose a pretty simple one here. Let's go ahead with this one right here. It's a star that has kind of soft edges, and that might help soften up this design a bit. So you can see that when I select the custom shape, it brings it in, and when I do, it does bring it in as artwork. So I need to make this into a running stitch pattern. So with it selected, I'm going to come down to the bottom left, and I'm going to left click on the convert to run, and you can see that it added the running stitch there. I can go ahead now in the sequence view, select the artwork, and delete that piece because I won't need it anymore. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to add a color to it that I want to use for the repeat pattern, and I need to resize it. So first, let's go ahead and color it. So let's make it this darker purple color. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to apply that to it. And then I'm going to come up to the Transform tab. And in the Transform tab, I'm going to make this much smaller. And the reason for that is because it's going to act kind of like as a stippling stitch, so we don't want the pattern to be too big. And typically, when you're working with a design like this for this purpose, you want to be between a half an inch and an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and change the height with a maintain aspect ratio on to 0.75. So I'm going to hit OK, and you can see that that makes it a nice size to work as a repeat pattern for this block. So with that done, now I need to, with it selected, come up to the repeat design. When I click on the repeat design tool, it's going to load it 2 by 2. So it's going to have 2 across and 2 down, and I can change this easily by hitting these arrows. And there are a number of things that I can do. I can work with the distance between, and I can change like flipping them. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you a few of those things, but before I do, I want to point out that it does show you the output size down at the bottom right, and this will let you know how big the pattern is that you're creating, because this is important when you have an 8-inch block, 8 by 8. You want to make sure that you can fit as many as you can inside of that area, so you'll pay attention to the output size. That'll let you kind of figure out how many across and down you can use. So before I focus on getting it to 8 inches in size, I'm going to play with this design a little bit. First thing I want to do is I want to come in and flip every other one vertically so that it breaks up the pattern, doesn't make it so structured. So if I click on flip every one horizontally, you'll notice that it changes the design up a little bit, and I kind of like this. So, but now I want to make these touch each other. I don't want to have the distance between. So now I can work with the horizontal and vertical distance. I can come over to this box and I can choose the down arrow to bring them closer, or the up arrow will make them further apart. But because I want to bring them closer together, I'm going to click the down arrow, and I'm going to click it and watch the preview window until I have the lines touching each other. I'm going to do the same thing vertically. I'm going to bring these up so that they're touching each other as well. So I'm going to hit the down arrow to bring them closer. So when I get it about to where I want, just like that, now I'm ready to resize this. And I want to get it to where it's about 8 inches by 8 inches. So right now I'm at about a 1.5 inch. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to focus on the number across first. So as I click across, I'm going to look at this value right here, and I'm going to click it as many times as I can until I get to 8. And if I go over like 8.13, I'll just go back down 1. So you can see I can get 10 across, and now let's focus on how many down I can get. So I'm going to hit the up arrow, and I'm going to watch the value down here in the bottom right, and I'm going to try to get it to as close to 8 as I can. I'm about 8.2, so I'm going to go down one. So I was able to get 10 across and 11 down, and now I'm ready to bring it into the software. So to do that, I'm just going to press OK, and it's going to load that onto my screen. Because I'm going to have to move this around, the first thing that I like to do before moving on is coming up to the top and clicking on the group icon. And the reason I do this is because if I click off for some reason and I want to come back to the stars, with it grouped, if I just click on one, it's going to select all of them at one time. If I don't have them grouped and I click on it, it's going to just select one star, and then I'm going to have to figure out how to select all of them again. So I like to group them together, and I'm going to, with this selected, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to look at the transform box, because I want to make this 8 inches by 8 inches, and right now it's 7.4 wide by 7.53 tall, and to get it to exactly 8 by 8, I need to just uncheck this maintain aspect ratio box, and then I can come in here and type in the value of 8 for the width and 8 for the height, and I can make these stars exactly 8 by 8. So now it's the exact same size as my block. Okay, and now I can come and I can drag this into position, and I have a nice repeated pattern over the top of the entire block. Now I used a darker purple color because I wanted to make sure I could see the shapes inside of the repeat pattern. Now you'll probably want to change that for the block itself. You might want to go with a lighter color of the purple or some entirely different color. It's kind of up to you, but that repeat pattern option is very nice, very easy to use. It helps you make it easy to create your own little stippling stitches based off of an object that you that works well with the block. So we hope that you enjoyed that feature. And the next thing that I do want to show you is I'm going to go ahead and pull this off the screen here because I won't need it for this example. But we've changed the way that the advanced stipple and texture stitches that are located at the bottom left, how we interact with them. So when I have this object selected, this purple star, let's say I want to add some advanced stippling to it. Before, when I would click on the advanced stippling button down here at the bottom, it would open it up into the properties box, and I would have to select the pattern from a drop down. It was kind of hard to see them, and so what we've done is now when you click on that advanced stipple icon, it's going to come up with a preview window allowing you to see the different patterns available. Much easier, much simpler to work with. It's very nice and handy, so you can come in and you can find the pattern that you want, and you can click on it and it will load that into the shape. And so it's really simple to work with, and this does work, like I said, with the textures as well. So the textures comes up in the same manner. Just something to make it easier to work with, finding the right pattern for your decorating of the block. And another thing that we have done is sometimes when you're working with a design, you might bring it in from somewhere else, and a lot of times it's not perfect. Like for instance, in this example here, I have a rectangle or square, and you can see that it's not perfectly straight. It's off a little bit. Same thing with this circle. It's kind of a little bit more egg-shaped in a way. We've added this feature that we can take this artwork and convert it into a perfect circle or a perfect square, and it's really easy to do. All you have to do is select the artwork object, and it needs to be artwork, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to select perfect circle, and when I do, watch what happens to this circle here. When I click that, it straightens it out, and now it's perfectly rounded. Now I'm going to come to this this rectangle or square. I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose convert to a perfect square, and you can see that that squares it all up, and now it's perfectly shaped. And it's just a handy tool that makes it easy to work with shapes that aren't of a circle or a square that aren't exactly perfect. One of the other things that we have done in this build was make it easier to work with these artwork blocks, because everything that we do inside of My Decorative Quilter really revolves around these artwork blocks that we bring in and decorate from. So in the past, you know, we've always had guides, which are these lines that you could drag and help to line up different objects. But in the past, what would happen is these guidelines would be hidden underneath of the artwork. It wouldn't show up on top of it. So what we've done is we have changed that to where now when you pull and drag a guideline from the ruler, a vertical one, you just come over to the vertical side of the ruler and you click and drag. Now it will display above the artwork to make it a little bit easier to work with these, a lot easier actually. So that's another little feature we've enhanced in this build. And the last thing that I wanted to show you was we've brought in the ability to, if you're working with an existing design, to have the colors of the design automatically change to a thread chart of your choice. So I'm going to load a design here, and it's going to be this one. It's in a VP3 format. I'm going to hit open, and when this design opens up, you will see that I have Floriani polyester threads applied to this design. And let's say that that isn't the thread chart I want. Let's say that I like to pick my own colors and I have a bunch of different brands, and I don't want to be stuck to an exactly one. I can come up here to my preferences, and we do have a generic thread chart in here called embroidery. And so let's say that I wanted to have it convert over to this palette whenever it loads a design. All I have to do is select that palette, that thread color palette, and make sure that this checkbox right here for color match on loading is selected. And when I hit OK, now when I bring the design in, it will bring it in with those colors applied. So let me go ahead and close this out, and then we go to open again, and let's grab that same design and hit open. And I do apologize, it's taking a little while to load because I have this recording software on here. So you can see that when I do get this design in here and loaded, if I come over here to the sequence view, notice that now it's embroidery 328 and embroidery 323 color. And so it just makes it really easy to have designs automatically convert to a thread chart of your choice, and so that you don't have to spend the time and go one by one trying to figure that out. And so we've added that into the software to make your life a little bit easier. So I hope that you enjoyed the updates for My Decorative Quilter, and we can't wait to see what things you create next with it.